Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. We actually just got a brand new post from Treyarch and the design director Matt Scrontz detailing some Black Ops 7 multiplayer information, and this is really interesting because it kind of came out of nowhere. We know that they have a planned zombies reveal and some zombies intel dropping in early September, presumably this upcoming week or maybe the week following. But up until Call of Duty Next, we're not really expecting anything else major for multiplayer. So this seems like it's essentially a direct response to, again, the very loud community feedback about Black Ops 7, the uncertainty about this game, the concern about this game being futuristic. What's it going to play like? Are they going in the wrong direction? We've seen the response to Black Ops 7 and it has not been great for Call of Duty. It kind of feels like maybe it's a little bit of damage control. There are some things that are answered here that are promising. There's also some other answers that raise some red flags in my opinion. So Treyarch posted this yesterday out of the blue. Got any questions about Black Ops 7 movement? Treyarch design director Matt Scrontz has answers, plus a hint of what's to come. We've got about a 2.5 minute video to break down here. We will be pausing and talking about it. If you want to watch the full video uninterrupted, it is on the Treyarch Twitter account. But let's see what we've got here. Treyarch Dev Talk multiplayer movement.
Matt Scrontz here, design director at Treyarch, and today I'm going to answer some of your questions about movement and Black Ops 7 multiplayer. Okay.
So this is interesting because this has been a very hot topic. You go and you look at comments on Black Ops 7 stuff, especially their officially, posted things on their Twitter, their YouTube, etc. There's a lot of memes about Battlefield 6 getting pre-ordered, but then after you sift through all of those, it's, oh great, we don't want jetpacks, we don't want super jumps, we don't want wall running, this, that, whatever else, right? They actually do respond to a lot of the very loud criticism about how this game seems like it's going to play. So first question, what was the overall philosophy for movement in Black Ops 7?
What was the overall philosophy for movement in Black Ops 7? So I'd say the overall design philosophy for our core movement in Black Ops 7 was to pull back a little bit based off of where we introduced omni movement last year. Also, we've removed tack sprint by default. With that, we've increased our base movement speed, but you can take a perk if you still want to tack sprint. So that's kind of the philosophy, is pulling back a little bit. So not everybody's quite as aggro, but if you want to play that way, we've got opportunities through our perk system.
So that's a really interesting answer, saying the design philosophy for Black Ops 7 movement is to pull back, which sounds really weird considering this game is more advanced movement than Black Ops 6. So essentially it's the philosophy about toning down some omni movement, which is kind of an interesting response given how they talked so highly of omni movement at first when they released it with Black Ops 6. But essentially omni movement won't be as impactful, I guess you could say, within Black Ops 7 multiplayer, because you're not going to have full on tack sprint. You'll still have the ability to slide, dive, do whatever in any direction, right? But tack sprint being a perk is obviously going to change things up. The base movement speed being faster is also really interesting. I have seen some worry, some concerns saying, oh, if they're getting rid of tack sprint, this game's going to play super slow. But I don't necessarily know if we're going to see a drastic change in player movement, player speed, the ability to finesse in that sense, if the base movement speed is just naturally faster. I am curious how much faster tack sprint would make it, because if it makes you go crazy, obviously, the TikTok movement, demons that are out there are gonna go crazy with that movement. But kind of interesting that they're saying they're toning it back some in a game that has different advanced movement techniques. Matt will detail more here. Next question, we saw big movements in the trailer, referencing, I would assume, the big jumps, the kind of flight-esque clips that looked pretty crazy in the campaign trailer.
Saw some big movement and jumps in the trailer. What does that mean for gameplay in Black Ops 7? So what you saw there specifically was our kinetic jump. That's specific
like
to
the
our
boost
co-op
jump,
campaign.
basically.
Those are not in Black Ops 7 multiplayer.
So that's a big thing, and I've tried to clarify where I can, because I do see that sort of misinformation, the confusion there, because the reveal didn't really specify things great. Like I said, they fumbled the reveal big time. The Black Ops 7 direct video really needed to be what they showcased, because it described the differences and how campaign was a lot more crazy and how multiplayer's way different than that. But the boost jump, the crazy jump, that's campaign only. That's not a thing in multiplayer, so that's good news.
What we do have in Black Ops 7 multiplayer is a refined omni movement with the addition of wall jump. Is there wall?
So just wall jump, and this next question actually segues very nicely into the sort of continuation of that question.
Running in Black Ops 7?
Is there wall running?
What about jetpacks?
Or jetpacks?
No wall running. We do have wall jump. I can run up to a wall and I can jump off of it. And there's no jetpacks.
So if you were concerned about that, because you see the campaign trailer, you see that gameplay that they showed initially, and it's like, this looks nothing like Call of Duty. This is Advanced Warfare, Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 3 vibes. Very far from what, you know, core Call of Duty feels like and what you would assume it's going to be like, boots on the ground in that style of warfare. There is that wall jump, which again will be detailed here in a little bit. There are some concerns with it that are new to us that I think are a little bit weird. We'll have to see how it plays, of course, but there is no wall running. You can't jump to a wall and end up on the other side of the map, and there is no jetpacks. Maybe they do an LTM or something like that at some point, but at its base, no jetpacks, no crazy stuff like Advanced Warfare. It's almost like Black Ops 2 movement, I would call it, with the ability to jump off of walls, is I think the safest way to put it.
The technology isn't quite there yet in 2035, and that's where you are.
So they're going
Black Ops 7
the lore answer
can
there.
I chain wall jumps? Yes, you can. Right now we have.
See, so this is where things get a little bit weird for me. Chaining wall jumps. So essentially you could go from wall jump to other wall, kind of parkour it. That almost to me feels like it's an alternative sort of replacement to just wall running. I don't know. I'm curious if this is going to be something that is a little bit too gimmicky for what they're going for, or if it's something that's just going to be abused. But chaining wall jumps sounds really interesting. I just was under the assumption it was a one-time thing. You jump off the wall, you use that little boost to your advantage, you continue on with your gameplay. You can jump off another one shortly thereafter, but going from wall to wall to wall to wall, that's a little bit of a red flag for me. I'm not too sure how that's going to play. We're obviously going to have to wait and see.
Have it capped at 3 wall jumps. But
so you can only do 3.
A little more specific, on that second and third jump, you're going to lose a little bit of momentum.
So it's not going to be crazy broken, and I'm glad that he does specify there are checks and balances in place for this. It's still concerning to me, and it's really only something that'll be answered when we can actually get our hands on it and see what it's like. But that came as a big surprise because we already had a basic understanding of what the movement was going to be like for Black Ops 7, but hearing you could chain things like that was definitely out of left field and not something I know if I'm going to really love.
So that first one's going to be powerful,
just off the
and then
description.
you lose a little bit of momentum on that second and third one. We want to make sure that people honestly aren't ping-ponging around the maps.
So that's good
we do have
news
some really
there.
cool opportunities built into our maps, some of which you'll play in the beta. All that said, we're looking forward to getting this out into beta, into your hands, and then hearing your feedback, and then we'll go from there.
So again, good news there. Like, obviously we already know the beta is there partially just to sell pre-orders, but also there will be feedback taken into account for adjustments, probably even at the start of the beta and early access into the open beta. But it's good that they say there are balances already out there so that this is not some crazy spammed movement thing. It feels weird. The direction of this feels like they maybe wanted to go more advanced, more futuristic, and they had to tone it down because of the perception, because you have some of these core elements of advanced movement, the ability to wall jump, the game set in a near future scenario, but they really limit everything you can do, like with no jetpacks, with no super jump, which, keep in mind, I think is a good thing. I don't want to get back to that too futuristic stuff. As LTMs, I think it would be cool, but for core gameplay, just not it. So they give you something like wall jumps, essentially, is what I'm getting at here, but then they cap it so much that, is it actually going to be useful? You can't ADS when you're doing the wall jump and everything. You have to have perks for that and everything like that. So really curious to see how integrated, how I guess forced it could be in gameplay, or could you essentially just play this like a boots on the ground multiplayer and not really be at a huge disadvantage? I'm really curious to see how that works out.
Grappling hooks in
also
multiplayer.
Very curious about this.
Grappling hooks are not in core 6v6 multiplayer.
I won't lie, I'm a little bit torn on this. I think grappling hooks in Blackout back in the day, so much fun, so much room for a an actual skill gap. There are specialties there that you can really master and become more advanced with. It could really give you some good outplay potential. It could also be spammed, and it's a little bit more gimmicky, so I understand both sides of the fence there. But I am a little bit bummed. I think there could be some cool things with grapples, but if it's also in other elements of the game, I think that'll probably suffice my want for them here.
The team has been having a ton of fun with them in our co-op campaign.
So they are in campaign.
And we are exploring ways where they may show up in our 20v20 mode skirmish. All right.
So that's really interesting too. We know we've got core 6v6. We also know that there's going to be the 20 versus 20 ground war-like mode. We could have grapples in that mode. You can maybe chain those into, your wingsuit or something, since that's in that mode as well. That could be kind of interesting. Again, clarifying here, no double jump in midair. Another concern, is there going to be the boost jumps? Is there going to be crazy jumps that are spammed and stuff like that? Seemingly
so no
no.
Double jump in midair.
No.
No double jump. Shipment, question mark? Wrong studio.
Guys, we can't have Shipment every year. I'm not sure if they're just coming up with these questions, like if people are actually commenting this and they're taking full-on real questions, or if they're phrasing things just to, you know, poke some fun at some things. But no, Shipment will not be in Black Ops 7. Treyarch does not do Shipment. I imagine, though, there's going to be plenty of those super compact, super condensed maps like Stakeout, what we have in like the Chaos and small map Mosh Pit now. Of course, Black Ops 6 was like 90% very, very, very small maps as is. I imagine Black Ops 7 will differ from that some, but there's going to be those super small maps that the camo grinders, the XP grinders love to just play. That's mostly what I do, you know, when I'm just trying to be efficient, max up my weapons, you know, get attachments tested out and everything, and get my characters leveled up. But Shipment itself will not be in the game. There's going to be plenty of small maps, so I wouldn't be too worried about that.
Can we get some Black Ops 2 remasters?
And this is really interesting too.
Yeah, you can. Okay.
Black Ops 2 remasters that we've never had before are officially confirmed. Now, we've seen a couple of, and by the way, that is the end of this video here, but we've seen a couple of remasters spammed, like Raid, Hijacked, Nuketown. Those are always back in the game, right? I think we've seen Yemen. Have we seen Yemen before? I think it was a leaked location on Avalon. Off the top of my head, I'm not sure if we've had that back yet, but other things like Plaza, Carrier, what was the one that was set in LA? I know it was not Aftermath, I think it was called. Like, there's a lot of Black Ops 2 maps that have never been brought back, which is kind of interesting, essentially confirming that there's a lot coming back. A lot of the leaks say basically all the Black Ops 2 maps are going to be back in this game as remasters, either through launch where we have the 3, and then throughout the seasons as well, they'll be bringing them back. So it'll be interesting to see those back in action with a slightly different movement system here, and obviously Call of Duty in a much different state than it was way back in Black Ops 2. But some really interesting answers here. Like I said, there is some good clarification there that should help out, you know, differentiate what multiplayer actually is supposed to be this year. But also some things that I'm a little bit concerned about that hopefully my concerns will be dampened some when we actually get hands-on, and Matt sort of alluded to that there. But kind of some damage control here. I don't think we get a video like this. I don't think we get details like this without the backlash from the community just being very not in to Black Ops 7 so far. I also think this was a missed opportunity in a sense. While I do love the transparency, and I even replied to this tweet saying I hope we get more videos like this, I feel like this was maybe a prime opportunity, a prime chance to feature a little bit more gameplay, so we actually have some examples, and we didn't get that. Obviously, it was just Matt talking to his phone there. So I think that that was a bit of a missed opportunity. That could have been a really good way to, you know, exemplify more of what to expect and maybe build a little bit more hype for next and everything at the end of the month. But nonetheless, we'll see what you know, continues to happen here as Treyarch and Call of Duty and Black Ops 7 have to continuously respond to what has not been a very successful reveal season so far. Of course, I'll be sure to keep you guys up to date with anything and everything going on in Call of Duty, so feel free to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date. And if you guys enjoyed the video, a like rating on your way out would be really appreciated. Once again, though, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.